Hi, and welcome to a little video on diaphragmatic breathing, and we're also going to learn breath of fire. Okay, so when we talk about our diaphragm or diaphragmatic breathing, you have a muscle that kind of sits up and into your rib cage, and it's kind of this rainbow, right? A reverse U shape. And when you inhale, this muscle contracts and pushes down to create space for your lungs to expand. All right. So this is the main muscle for our breath, right? So what should be happening as I inhale, my diaphragm pushes down, it's going to create a like my lower, right, as that diaphragm pushes down and pushes those organs and things down and out of the way of the lungs, you're going to create a little bit of an extension in the belly. So your belly should inflate a little bit as you inhale, and that's because not because you're filling your belly with air, but because that diaphragm is pushing down to create space in your lungs. The other muscles that are helping here are muscles in your rib cage, your intercostals. So these muscles as well, when we inhale, those muscles contract and expand the rib cage to create more space, right? So what should be happening on all sides, your front body, your back body, and both side body, is an expansion, a 360-degree expansion, and even thinking that that pelvic floor, right? If your torso is like this cylinder, expansion on all sides and into that lower piece, right? And then the air is you're gonna feel that breath, expand in your upper chest as well. So a deep diaphragmatic breath is the natural way that we should be breathing. If you watch a baby breathe or a puppy breathe, a dog breathe, right? Animals, they are breathing with that diaphragmatic breath. You can watch their rib cage expand on the inhale and contract back on the exhale. And that's the way that we're designed to be breathing. What happens is we are living very fast and stressed and overwhelmed lives, right? We have maybe suffered traumas that we have not processed. And we say the word trauma, really those are situations and experiences that you were unable to process at the time, and it left a bracing in your body, in your physical body, in your emotional body, in your mental body, right? You braced against that, right? It felt dangerous, scary, and as if you had no choice, right? So what happens when there's stressed out modes and we are in, we've tightened and braced our bodies, we're breathing very shallow, right? And I'm breathing into my right upper chest, and it's really not going down and into those lungs and really expanding. And what happens is we are further telling our body that we are not safe, right? Your breath is the fastest way to speak to your nervous system. And once you learn to take these deep diaphragmatic breaths and you can control the way that you're breathing intentionally and consciously, then you can bring yourself into that rest and digest state. And that's when your body's able to heal and your body's able to reprogram, you're able to make choices. That's when all of the good things are happening, right? So that's why it's so important. So let's see. Yes, breath has the power to change your nervous system. And it's also the reason that we are, or one of the reasons that we're so tuned into it, right, with yoga and things, is that our breath can move some of those physical bracings in our body. We talk about how in traumatic or stressful events, if we're not able to process it at the time and we brace, right, we react, we're stressed, we're on high alert, that is actually stored in your physical tissue, in your fascia, which is this connective tissue. It's this sheath that kind of runs throughout your body. And what they found is that those physical tight places are aligned with some mental or emotional trigger point. right? And so when we use our breath in yoga practice and we learn to control that breath is actually able to not only speak to your nervous system, right, but it's also able to move that energy that got stuck in your fascia, which I think is fascinating. Um, and so you will experience probably, if you stick with this practice for long enough, these practices, you will experience that physical release, right? As you're kind of moving through emotions, even those physical things are also releasing. So it's a really beautiful thing. So we want to learn how to do a deep diaphragmatic breath. So what we're going to do is just start seated, and you can be seated in a chair, you can be seated on the floor, and I want you to give yourself a hug. All right. So wrap your hands around yourself and see if you can touch your rib cage on either side. Okay. And draw up from the base of your spine. Okay. So connect to those sits bones. Get that pelvic bowl in that neutral space, right? So don't spill forward, don't tilt back. Bring that pelvic bowl to neutral. Draw that spine up all the way to the crown of your head. All right. And you've got your ribs right here and you can feel them. Okay. And if it helps you to close your eyes down to really connect to that breath and feel it coming in, right? Sense it. I will encourage you to do that. If you don't want to, that's absolutely fine. Okay. You're going to breathe in through your nose. And I want you to just take a nice deep breath. Don't force anything, but just feel that breath coming in and see if you can feel the expansion in your rib cage. Okay. Good. And then releasing nice and slow through your nose. And we'll try that again. Okay, sensing into both sides as you inhale. Sensing into your back body. Can you feel your back body also expand? Good. And exhale. All right. Move your hands up just a little bit. See if you can feel that expansion a little bit higher. Okay. Taking that deep breath. Think back body, side body, front body, and exhale. Good. And move your hands a little bit lower than they were before. Okay. We do want to feel an expansion just below our ribs as well. Okay. See if you can feel this one here. Beautiful. All right. So when we're taking those big, full, deep breaths, right? The idea is we want to really expand. Okay. We want to allow the rib cage to expand. We want to allow the lungs to expand. Okay. We're going to move into a kneeling child's pose position. All right. If this is not comfortable for you, then I'm going to give you a chair pose option. And I'm also going to show you a few things you can do to make yourself more comfortable if the full pose is not available for you today, which is fine, right? So, child's pose in its full expression is going to be seated back onto my heels, and then I kind of walk my hands forward, and I allow my head to come all the way down to rest on the ground, and then I'm just here and I'm rested. Now, if that's not available, but you still want to be on the floor, you could grab a yoga block or a book. I'll encourage you to find, don't feel like you have to go out and buy a yoga block. I mean, you'll probably get one for, $10 or less, but go find a big encyclopedia and stack it. Do people have encyclopedias anymore? I don't know. Okay, so taking this block, right, and putting that under my head will bring my head, or bring the floor to my head, right? If it's not comfortable on your ankles or your feet, you can put a pillow under your hips and elevate a little bit. You can also straddle a pillow, which is going to elevate your hips. Okay, so play around with that. Find where you can be in a fully relaxed place. Okay, well, that's what we want to do is be fully relaxed. Now, if you're seated in a chair, let me drag my chair over here. Hold on. Apologies for the noise. If I were more professional, I would have had all of this worked out. If I had like a filming crew, one day. Okay. So you're going to, if you're in your chair, sit in your chair and you're going to do that forward fold. So if again, you would like to bring a blanket or something to be more comfortable, you're going to allow your arms to extend down. Okay, and just be in this forward fold position. All right. And, you know, whatever, prop yourself up. If this feels fantastic, really. Um, you know, get yourself a pillow and put yourself in a place where you're going to be nice and comfortable. All right. So I'm going to come back into the floor position. And what I want you to do is find your child's pose position. This is a restorative pose, but I'm going to use it to work a little bit more on the breath and feeling that breath. So in that child's pose position, go ahead and relax fully into that. And I want you to, again, take that deep breath and think about sending that breath as low as you can, sensing into the expansion that should be happening in that cylinder container of your torso. Okay, let's take some deep breaths here. Just take your time. In through your nose. Allow that full expansion. Feel the stretch through those intercostals and then exhaling slowly through the nose. Good. And just find your pace here. Just find your breath. Full inhales. And complete exhales. Beautiful. We'll take one more round of that. Great job. Okay, so starting to really get the hang of that diaphragmatic breath. Now I want you to understand that breath work, no matter if you're doing breath of fire, if you're doing long, slow, deep breathing, some other variation, it's going to be powerful and it has the power to move physical tension and tightness, as well as emotion and mental heaviness, right? It has that power. So if a certain breath work practice is not available to you, powerful, deep breaths will always work. Okay. So never tell yourself, I just can't do this because, right? Because you can breathe. We're all breathing, right? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. So coming to that place where you say to yourself, okay, maybe this isn't for me today, but I can do this, right? Because in some of our practices, right, we may be using breath of fire, which is a powerful, energizing like it's pumping and it's fast, and some days we don't have that, right? And that's beautiful that we have cycles. And so what we understand is it doesn't have to be that kind of breath work. It can still be, right, that powerful breath. Okay, so we're going to now try breath of fire, which we did go over in previous video, but this is going to re-instruct and hopefully make it even better. You just keep practicing and reconnecting to this. So we're going to be in child's pose, whatever, on the floor, in the chair, whatever props you have. We're going to come back to that, and we're not going to do this for very long because really we wouldn't be doing breath of fire in a restorative pose, but you can feel this really, really well. It really helps you feel the pump at your navel. So what you're going to do is you're going to come back into child's pose, stick your tongue out, and do that puppy dog pant. All right. And I want you to connect to what's happening at your belly. Okay. Every time you have that exhale, that belly button is going to pull back. All right. Don't think about it too much. Just let that breath happen. All right. Coming down into child's pose. Okay. Relax your head down, stick your tongue out, and start that puppy dog pant. Now, connect to what's happening at your belly as you're doing that. Feel that movement. Okay, take a break, because you will, if you do that for too long, you get really dry mouth, and yeah, that's not fun. All right, so that's the movement that should be happening at your belly. And the only change to get to breath of fire is you're going to close your mouth down and do that powerful exhale through your nose. All right, so you'd start like this. Close. Okay, so come back down. You're going to do about 2 pants, right? Once you feel like you got the movement going at your belly, 3 pants, 4 pants, then you're going to close your mouth down and do it through your nose. All right, let's try it out. Connect to that movement at your belly. Just keep powerfully exhaling through the nose. All right, and take a break. We're going to sit up now from whatever position you were in. If you were in child's pose, you'll be in a rock pose, kneeling. If you're in a chair, perfect. Just sit up nice and tall. We're going to put our hands on our knees, and we're going to practice that breath of fire again. Now, I want to say breath of fire is not intuitive, right? We were talking at the very beginning, diaphragmatic breathing, that's natural. That's the way that we're designed to breathe. We get a little messed up when we get all stressed out, right? And we're living in times that are extremely stressful. So we should be breathing diaphragmatic breathing, right? Breath of fire, that one, your body is not necessarily like, oh yes, I know this, right? So it does take a little bit of that, there's a learning curve here, and you're going to feel at the beginning like, oh my gosh, I'm thinking so hard and I'm never going to get it. It will click. It absolutely will. I do remember. And I would have to take breaks. I'd have to reset. Okay, reset. I think my belly's doing it backwards, right? So just know that's very normal. And this is a practice, not a perfect, and you're going to get it. It absolutely will come. Okay. So just sit nice and tall. Okay. And you felt the movement at your belly. Try to connect to that. But if it's not connecting, I want you to just stay really focused on the powerful exhale. Because if you're powerfully exhaling, the movement will be happening at your belly. Okay. Whether, you're going to be like, oh, I can't feel it, or I don't know if I'm doing it. All right. So just try as much as you can to turn off the judgy part, because we know it's there. And just keep focused on that powerful exhale. Okay. So start with mouth open if that's helping. Okay. Close my mouth down. Go for 10 more seconds. Keep powerfully exhaling. 5, 4, 3, 2, deep breath in. Hold. Exhale fully. Good. Breathe normally for a few minutes here. Okay, the other thing that you're going to find is at first, it feels like a lot of work at your belly too. You're like, ooh, this is hard. You're gaining control of that diaphragm. You are training the core musculature, all right? So yes, this is core work. Yes, it will feel hard in the beginning, but again, you're going to get stronger every time. And so we don't want to overdo, right? Do it for 10 seconds at a time. Take a break, 10 seconds, take a break, right? Okay, we're going to go again. We got 2 more rounds. Okay, so again, if it's helping to start with your mouth open, go for it. Okay, here we go. Make it powerful. 5, 4, 3, keep going. 2, deep breath in. Hold. Pull that energy up and exhale. Beautiful job. All right, you're getting better at it. That round was better. I bet it was. Unless you're still up here. Yeah, and that sometimes happens. Okay, that's okay. All right, we got round 3. Okay, so this time, before we start, I want you to connect to that pelvic floor, all right? All this means is you're going to draw up, right? If you could imagine yourself kind of lifting yourself from the very like base of your spine, what muscles would you pull up on, right? How would you pull up, right? So think about that. That's going to engage your pelvic floor, okay? You're going to start that puppy dog pant and see if you can keep that engagement. You might lose it. It happens. If you lose it and then you're like, oh my gosh, I forgot to do that. As soon as you think of it, just bring it back in. Okay. That's some of the practice. We lose stuff and then we just, oh, gotta get that again. Get that again. All right. Pulling up on that pelvic floor. Sit up nice and tall. We start that puppy dog pant. Close the mouth down. Drawing up. Powerful exhale. 10 seconds. Stay really focused. Draw up, draw up, draw up, draw up. 5, 4, powerful. 3, 2, big inhale. Pull up at the floor. Pull up, pull up. That energy is running up, 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 up. And exhale. Nice job. All right, we're going to keep practicing. Anytime you think of it throughout your day, try to see if you can connect to that expansion in your rib cage. Allow that diaphragm to come down and push your belly out, right? You are just going to get better with every single practice. So hang in there. You're doing great. Let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you soon.